I tried so hard to come up with some kind of silver lining. I looked at every angle. I wanted to be optimistic. I pride myself on looking at things differently, finding a different twist. And I knew that today, fans are planning a march on Mint Street. There are so many negative opinions about the Panthers after last night's Thursday Night Football loss to the Bears. I was like, I'm going to be the guy. When everybody tunes in, I'm going to be the guy that has the positive. I don't think there is one. I genuinely don't think there is one. We played the return from Emir Smith-Marset. Obviously, that's a good play.
Yeah.
It's not consistent. You can't be like, all right, well, every game we'll get a kick return, and it just doesn't work that way. And the irony is there was a fake flag on the play, so fans couldn't even really celebrate.
Yeah, that was kind of odd.
They put up the graphic that said flag. Turns out a flag was never thrown. It wasn't like they threw it and pick it up. It wasn't there. No flag. Kind of didn't even address it. Just move on.
They just kind of assumed.
But I mean, I was out at the Carolina Ale House on Glenwood Ave, hanging out, partying with a bunch of Panther fans, and there was like the woo. Oh. That was the most exciting it got for the Panthers. The flag graphic on the screen took away the woo and went to an awe, even on a long punt return, and that was the high water mark. Here's why I don't think there's a silver lining. Aside from the Bryce Young conversation, and we'll have the Bryce Young conversation. We'll be updating the Bryceometer later in the show, 4 o'clock. You want to be here for it. The Panthers have to answer for simply having a worse roster than any other team in the NFL. This is not a one-decision thing, right? Even if you hate the Bryce Young pick, or if you hate the DJ Moore inclusion in the trade, or if you wish that they didn't draft Ike Ekwonu, or if you wish they traded Brian, it's not any one decision. It's a bunch of years' worth of consecutive decisions that get you to a place like they are right now. The only other team in the NFL that has an argument in the worst roster conversation is the Cardinals, and they're bad by choice.
Yeah, they wanted to be bad.
If you play too well for the Cardinals, you get moved. That's how they operate. The Panthers have no reason to operate that way. They got here organically. Bryce Young, after the game yesterday, he's frustrated.
Frustrating situation to be in. It's not who we are, not who we want to be, but that's what we are. We put on tape. We are we put in the field, and we have to be better. Our defense, ball, great game, start to finish. We have to be better. I have to be better first and foremost. I have to be a lot better. So we have to be better. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And that's not me. That's not just me. That's everyone. We're competitors. Losing is frustrating.
Frustrating, yeah. Yes, I agree. The eyes, the we's, the eyes. Bryce is always going to say the right thing. None of the criticism aimed his way today or aimed towards the team is about them personally as individuals. I believe the people in that locker room care. I believe the people in that locker room want to play better. I believe they genuinely had a tough time falling asleep last night knowing what they put on that field. I also am not sure they can be better. It is inexcusable, and it is not easy to fix once your roster gets to the place it is right now. The two best players on the Bears, at least on their offense, were former Panthers. Think about what that means.
Yeah.
Think about what that means. It's an evaluation problem. They're choosing to keep the wrong players over and over, and they're moving the players they shouldn't. They are spending a lot on the wrong players. It's an evaluation problem. An evaluation is far from 100% exercise. It's far from 100% industry, right? The best in the world still get draft picks wrong. The best scouts in the world still stand on the table for a certain player. Turns out they're a good college player, can't cut it in the NFL. But Miles Sanders was the highest paid running back in free agency this offseason, and he had 2 carries for -5 yards last night. It's an oversaid joke, but that means you, listening to this right now, had 5 more yards rushing than Miles Sanders in Thursday Night Football. Hayden Hurst was brought in for over $7 million a year to be Bryce Young's safety blanket, to be the guy when things got tough, when the game became muddled, when the defense was getting pressure, he was going to find Hayden Hurst. 2 catches, 14 yards. Bryce Young dropped back well over 40 times. He found his safety blanket twice. That is overspending on the wrong players. It's hard to even Dennis was calling him on their Panthers Playbook podcast, Practice Squad Mike.
Yeah, Practice Squad Mike.
They have the wide receiver. How do you pronounce his last name?
Mike Strawn.
He caught 45-yarder or something like that. It's hard to even be happy about that because it's going, wait a second. So the one guy you didn't use any resources to bring in is making a play?
I said on Panthers Playbook that it was been more of a deep threat in one quarter than DJ Chark has been all season.
And DJ Chark, $5 million. It's I don't know if that can be exciting because like finding a diamond in the rough only works if you know why you found that diamond in the rough. Right? If the only reason you put a player in is because the 6 people in front of him get hurt on the depth chart, I don't know if you get credit for playing him. So you had no choice. Frank Reich today, talking with the media, said they're just a few plays away.
There were instances where, we're just a click off here or a click off there. Not one player. I do think if I were evaluating, Bryce's play, I thought there were many good plays he made. I thought at times, looked good, made some big-time plays. I just think we were, from an execution standpoint, just a tad off on a few key plays. And, to the outside eye, it looks bad and it is bad. As we look at it, you understand because you've been through things like this before that clean a couple things up and that can turn that game around. A couple plays can turn that game around.
I disagree. I think Chicago was more than a couple plays. I think tweaking those, a click off, a click here. But let's pretend for a second I agree with Frank. Let's pretend for a second I agree they're a few plays away from winning that thing last night. You're a few plays away from beating the Bears. That's not going to make anybody feel warm and cuddly inside. That's not going to do away with anyone's concerns. When you're playing a contender, you're a couple plays away, and you're a team that's rebuilding, then it's like, hey, you know what? We were in it. We were a couple plays away from beating the Eagles. We were a couple plays away from beating the Chiefs. That's like, oh, look at that.
Tied here locally, like Duke was a couple plays away from beating Notre Dame.
It's no moral victories, but I see why a coach would say that. I see why a coach would say, hey, we're trying to get on their level. We understand we aren't one of the best teams in the league right now, but that's our aspiration, and we are just a couple plays away from being on their level. Being a couple plays away from beating the Chicago Bears without their starting quarterback, without their starting running back, and not even a draft pick rookie as their quarterback. They have an undrafted rookie as their quarterback, and you're a couple plays away. Are you trying to cheer us up or make us more depressed? No, we were close. We almost beat the second or third worst team in the league. I mean, if we really work hard, we focus in on the details, we could be in a close game with the worst team in the league, who has our first-round pick, by the way. Because Chicago, they like, even if Chicago lost that game, they wouldn't have to be selling a bill of rights of, oh, we were close. They'd just be selling the future of, hey, we're going to have 2 top 3 picks to add to this roster next year. We're going to be all right.
Chicago beat you twice last night.
On the field and then your draft pick?
Yep.
Yeah. Heck, I'll say 4 times. Each one was worth 2.
Fair.
It's a rough one. And I wanted to be the silver lining guy. I tried. It's a futile effort. I was watching film looking for something. Was I really going to stand up here and go, hey, Bryce Young threw, 45, 47 times, something like that? There were 4 or 5 good, solid NFL throws. as if that's the silver lining, without mentioning a couple of them that he should have made, he airmailed.